This afternoon we will be taking a look at the Z Fold card shape. Now this launched alongside Your Too Kind back in December of 2020, I think. I lose track of time a little bit. You guys will know what it's like when you have little ones. But it's a really lovely card shape design. So this is the Z Fold. As you can see, really nice large size die in its own right. And of course, if I just turn that over, you can see lots and lots of ways of using this. You've got all your filigree, you've got nested dies, ideal for sentiment strips or belly bands on cards, and more indoor adornments as well. Now, what's great is, while the name suggests Z Fold, which would be ultimately its first and original use, what we're going to do during this demonstration is show you a couple of different ways of using it as well, just to really maximise what you can do with this particular die set. The filigree, the nested dies, everything in there included is all sized to match, so you can use them as mats and layers, you can use them as apertures, you can use them as detailed dies. And what's really lovely is the team have sort of offered this as today's deal of the day. So if you're not familiar with Deal of the Day, it's something Carnation Crafts bring you every single day, a special offer on their website. To find it, all you need to do is head to our website, carnationcrafts.co.uk, click on shop, followed by Deal of the Day. You really can't miss it. It's in a huge sort of red block button that you just click on, and it takes you through to the Deal of the Day page. Now, obviously, as the name would suggest, the deal of the day is available for that day, so 24 hours only. There's a little countdown clock on there as well. So today's deal, as we've mentioned, is the Z Fold card shape. If you're looking for the Z Fold card shape and you want the number of it, the product number is 201226. So if you type that in the search bar, that will also bring up the Z Fold card shape. Normal retail on this die set, as you can imagine, nice large size die, is $44.99, but today we were offering it at 20% off. So that makes it $35.99. So really, really nice large size die, which is going to work as one of your tools within your collection. And I hope you'll see as we move through the demonstration just how many different ways are using it. I can see lots and lots of people popping up with lots of comments. That's so lovely. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, guys. Let's just see. We've got people joining us from Canada. Percy's here from Canada. Hi, Percy. Joanna's from a dreary Yeovil in Somerset. Yeah, it's pretty dreary here as well. It's pretty grey. Still warm though. Pam says, looking forward to this tutorial. Big thank you. You're more than welcome, Pam. Hopefully you'll find it useful to you. Teresa says, I've just ordered and got the in the orchard, which I think would be from Orchard Outings, but love to see this demo. Yeah, and the great thing about all the demonstrations, even the ones that we bring you as Carnation Crafts TV, I know Carla was demonstrating with Orchard Outing on Monday. You can watch back all of those shows both via the Facebook page and also the YouTube channels as well, which is really handy. Tracy, I'm babysitting my grandson today. We're just in the jumperoo while Nanny has 5 minutes with you. Oh, the jumperoos, aren't they an absolute lifesaver, Tracy? Oh, I love it. That makes me giggle. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's get on with this demonstration, shall we? Let's turn this camera around. So the Z Fold card shape, as we've mentioned, lovely large size die. So large, in fact, I have to turn it that way on the camera, so you can see all of the elements. Of course, like with every single one of our dies within our collections, the Z Fold comes in its own handy storage packaging. So handy. I'm struggling to get it out, so let me just put it down like that and peel away. So the storage there, it's just really nice because it's going to keep your dies nice and tidy. You can then sort of label them up if you want to at the top corners and things like that, just to keep everything aligned. Now the Z Fold in its own right, if we take out basically the core card shape within this pack, you can see this nice large size die. So what we're giving you here is a die that measures, let me just check, and I can do the measurements live, look. 8 inches tall, and at its widest, obviously then it scales down. At its widest it's 11 inches, but obviously these then fold down as well. So you get your cutting lines on the outside, and then your score lines to create that Z-fold design on the inside as well, which is perfect because it means you're not having to worry about measuring anything, you're not having to double check anything, it's all done for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that initial layer out, and you can see we've really maximised the size of this. You can see also I've left my sticky on there from a previous demonstration. But we've maximised the size of this to really make the most of the size of the die alongside your paper packs. I'm just looking for my repositionable tape, which seems to have gone for a wander. So I'll use this one instead and hope this one doesn't stick too generously to the page. Now I'm going to cut my base layer out of 350 Perfect Smooth cardstock. So this is Carnation Crafts Perfect Smooth cardstock. And when I'm cutting, I'm just going to squidge that down a little bit, making sure that every aspect is covered on the card. Here, I'm using my tape, but notice how I'm sticking the edge of the tape over the die itself with the majority of the excess of the tape on the excess of the card. Okay, that's really important. Rather than taking your tape and sort of just squidging it over the card itself, you don't want to run the risk of tearing the card, even if you're using repositionable tape and things like that. So, little tip. Just use a minimum amount of tape on the card itself, having most on the excess that you'd cut away. This we are going to run through our die cutting machine. So just standard plate combination for whichever die cutting machine you use. I use a Gemini Pro and I always use Cut Tidy. Cut Tidy is basically like an extra little shim. It's like a little piece of plastic that you can pop into your plate sandwich. I'm using it the A5 that I folded out to be A4 size, and notice how I'm going from die cutting blade upwards into the cardstock, then into the Cut Tidy. So that Cut Tidy is going to push that card down into the die itself, and that just helps to create a really nice beveled edge to the design. So even when it's not something that's really intricate like this panel isn't, I do tend to still use Cut Tidy. It also protects the card from the cut lines that are on your plates. It means you're not getting that transfer of cut line between the plate and the cardstock that you're using as well. There we go. Okay, so that's cut through. Now I have already pre-prepared some, and I've already got a few cut just so you can see different ways of using this. But this is how it cuts initially. So this is the basic card shape here. So I'm just going to gently peel away that tape, and as you can see, I'm not going to then run the risk of harming the cardstock because we haven't stuck it to the inside of the card. I'm going to take that away, pop that all to one side, pop my plates to one side as well. And that's going to give us our card blank. As I said, no need for measuring, no need for double checking that. Now it will put your score lines in place. Just as a little tip, something I like to do just from, personal preference and things like that, is I like to take my scoreboard, especially when I'm using something that is nice, strong, heavyweight card like the 350. And I like to use those score lines as an indicator. I then line them up on my scoreboard, making sure the top is aligned nice and straight, and then I just go over them with a ball tool just to really break the fibres down within the cardstock. You don't have to do this, it's just personal preference for me, something I like to do to get a really neat and sharp fold on the score line. So I'm doing both of them with that ball tool. As I say, if you're using lighter weight cardstock, you don't need to do this, but for anyone who's using your 350, because it is that heavyweight cardstock, it's just what I tend to do. Okay, from this point, we would then create our Z-fold. I'm just turning that round because normally a Z-fold would work from this side over. So we want a valley fold on that first initial fold, that score. And we're going to run down that score line with a bone folder. Again, just keeping everything nice and crisp as well. And then you're going to do a mountain fold on the other side, okay? And again, just neaten that score line up with your bone folder, okay? You see how that makes it nice and flat. That then gives you your Z fold effect. So your card's going to stand like so. You can obviously decorate the front, decorate the side, and you've got this lovely Z fold finish. Now, that's what we're going to demonstrate and do a finished card with later on in the demonstration. But what about different ways of using this? Okay, so remember, you've got your Z fold. If we then turn it this way round, so you've got the widest part of the die cut facing you, you can also valley fold and then turn this aspect the other way around. So what you've done is just brought that Z fold towards you. And now you've got an easel fold as well. So you see how we're starting to use this die in different ways. You could put a topper on there. So something like, you know, another rectangle, for example, then you'd have a stopper on the inside of the card to keep it open. And that gives you a really interesting easel card design. Okay, so again, another option you could go with. If we fold it back on itself, it's back to its Z fold. What if you took another Z fold card shape? So again, cut from 350 GSM Perfect Smooth card shape. Sorry, excuse me, I've got a little bit of a squidge on there. I don't know what that is. And if we rotate it 180 degrees, what if we then stuck the largest panel to the largest panel, like so, and now you've got a double gatefold, okay? So again, yet another way of using that. Again, you could pop your topper over one side and have it opening like so, okay? So again, another way of using your Z fold card design. What if, let me see if I've got a trimmer. Yes. What if we started playing around with the actual shape? Now, obviously, this is not something we often do with dies, because normally when we're working with dies, we just cut them as is. But if you start cutting into them, you can get different looks as well. So I'm just going to use my tonic trimmer, because obviously we're working with a heavyweight cardstock, and I am going to open it fully to cut. Let me get my extension as well, just so I can measure it. Like so. Okay, so as you can see, just under 8 inches on the widest point. What if we took that down to, say, I don't know, 6 inches there, and trimmed off the bottom? Okay, so now you've got more of a square, haven't you, finish to your design. But let me just put my trimmer away. You could then also take that little bit you've cut off, this area here, turn that up the other way and stick it to the bottom of your card. And now you've got one of these card shapes. So there's sort of, I see them quite a lot in group where, you know, you create boundaries and little fences and little scenes and things like that to your design. So again, don't just limit yourself thinking, okay, it's a Z fold, it can do one thing. You've seen a few different ways of cutting this out and using this to create different finishes. Now, of course, I mean, I'm sure there's other ways of using this. I'm sure there's other designs that you can get from this, just from adjusting them and putting them together in different orientations and things like that. But it's always nice when you've got a card shape to start playing with that card shape. Of course, what you've also then got is a whole host of dies we haven't even touched on yet. Now, traditionally, these would be your decorative elements for your Z fold card design, but think about ways of using these. This side is a card blank in its own right, with its own mats and layers or apertures or whatever they may be. These are, again, card blanks in their own right. They could be little pockets within journals. They could be little placeholders. You know, trim them down, cut them in half, fold them in half, create different looks with them. This could be a card blank in its own right. It could be a bookmark. It could be an embellishment for a DL. You know, there's so many different ways of using these particular dies, okay? Now, for this demonstration, we are going to finish a complete card. So let me just grab some elements as we go. Doopy doopy doo. And I've already got these sort of pre-cut in a colour order as well. So this card will come together fairly quickly, but it just gives you an idea, just one way of using it in its rawest form, if you like, as a Z-fold card design. So back to, as we had, full-length Z-fold card shape. You've got your valley fold and your mountain fold to have that fold back effect on the design, okay? Now, let's just have a little scroll back through, make sure we aren't missing any questions. Karen says, Cut Tidy sounds like a great item. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, absolutely, Karen. It's such a handy, and again, another tool within your crafty stash that I use all the time, absolutely all the time. Elaine says, I've got the square version of this die, so hoping I can use the ideas from this demo. Yeah, absolutely. So we have obviously the rectangle, which was the original one we brought out, and we also have the square. These particular demonstrations, these particular ideas are interchangeable, so just have a go with those. Suzanne says, hi from a very sunny campsite away in my caravan, got all my craft stash with me. Oh, it sounds lovely, really, really perfect. Karen says, I love the sound of a guillotine. Yeah, me too. It's a really satisfying sound, isn't it? Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm going to team the Z-fold with items from the You're Too Kind, which, as I say, the Z-fold card shape launched alongside back in December 2020, I believe it was. And we're going to start decorating. So I've used, again, the same colour papers as the back. So this is the You're Too Kind papers. And look how just even down to the beautiful nested dies and things, they all fit into every aspect of this card shape. Mary says, hi Hannah, sorry I'm late, hope I haven't missed anything. Mary, all you've missed is us going through the different ways of using the Z-fold card shape. We're just getting onto the card demonstration now. For anyone that is late or has joined us just now, you can absolutely always watch this back at a later date. We load them both to our Facebook page that you're watching on at the moment live, and we also load them to our YouTube channel as well. So just, they don't go onto YouTube straight away. I've got to obviously download the files and then upload them. And obviously with the weather as it is, it can be a little bit temperamental. So bear with me as I do that this afternoon, but they will be there. So there, we've put our first panel in, and already you can see just how elegant this design is. So I've said we used the perfect papers from the You're Too Kind collection. This white cardstock that I've got the filigree cut out of is actually one of our perfect blush papers. It's perfect blush in the natural, so it has more like a buttercream colour. We have perfect blush in... what have we got? Perfect blush in blue, rose and natural. So the blues are much cooler white tone. It's more like an ice white. The rose, as the name would suggest, is more of a pinker tone. So it's a very warm colour. And then the natural is, as the name would suggest, it's more of a buttermilk colour. So depending on what cardstocks from your perfect papers or your vignettes that you're working with, you can find your perfect blush to team with them, depending on whether you want it cooler or warmer or more natural. We then can decorate the outside panel as well. Now this is lovely. Again, you've got that same filigree, same colourway as with what we've used on the inside of the card. So everything mirrors, everything matches. And of course, the same kind of look to your mats and layers here as well. So your framing devices. Then all we need is the stick. Ingrid says, good morning from Florida. What collection is this die from? This die set, Ingrid, launched alongside the You're Too Kind die collection. If you hop onto our website, carnationcrafts.co.uk, click on shop and then click on the deal of the day button, you will find that the Z-fold card shape is currently today's deal of the day. So that is the deal of the day for the 13th of April 2022. It's on 20% off, so a nice little saving on that as well. Okay, so we're just smoothing this down into place. So you see what I've done is I've taken the carrier sheet of the finger lift tape and I've just folded part of the carrier sheet over the edge of the die cut here. That creates a little tab, which means I'm then hands-free to go in and peel that tab and smooth that panel into place. It just makes alignment so much easier and just means everything then works beautifully together. And I love how this looks. If you wanted to, you can absolutely repeat that panel and stick it to the inside of your card as well. You know, there's options, there's ways of doing this. Remember, if you wanted to then create your gatefold, you would have stuck it like so. And then you can have your panel on here as well, creating that lovely opening, almost like a grand ceremony, isn't it? Wonderful, exciting way. Perhaps this is a wedding invite, perhaps this is wedding stationery you're making to reveal the inside of the card. But I think it's a very, very useful card design. Oh, Joan. Oh, Hannah, do I see an extra ring on your finger? Yes, you do, Joan. I said on air, it was I was very spoiled by my dear husband. It's just been our first wedding anniversary, so yes, he did treat me to a new sparkly for our wedding anniversary, which is just lovely. For those of you that might not know, my career started life in jewellers, so I'm a trained gemologist and silversmith. So yes, sparkly things are very much a passion for Simon. Bless you. So yes, I've been a very lucky girl. Okay, so for my topper for this design, obviously, I mean, you could just leave it as is. You could put a sentiment over there. You know, it's your card to design as you want. But you can add toppers to these as well, which I think really changes the dynamic of the look of the front of the card and creates nice sort of shapes within your card design as well. Okay, so what we've done here is we've selected the Timeless Elegance from Your Two Kinds, this lovely, I mean absolutely stunning cutaway rose frame here. I love this die set. I love the neutral look of it. I love the colours in it, the ivories. It just says, you know, wedding stationery. It says, you know, elegant birthdays, special birthdays. You could include a number, a verse, whatever it may be, in the little panel to the inside there. What we're doing to create our topper, remember, because it's going to be a topper, it's going to be something that needs to be hard wearing, if you like. You don't want any card that's going to bend. So again, we're using 350 Perfect Smooth for our base to our topper there. And we have mounted that on foam strips. Now remember, if we're sticking it to the Z fold, a bit like we would on a gatefold, you only want one side stuck. You want this side free of any tape so it doesn't stick to the background of the card. And then, just like we did before, we're going to take the carrier sheet of the foam. So I'm using 1mm foam tape here. I know Carla's gone into great discussions over where you get the foam tape and things like that from. It's nothing fancy. It's just literally, you can find it on the same place that has its name as a rainforest, and it's just Glazer's insulation. That's all it is, double-sided. I prefer to use 1mm foam tape because I like that little bit of depth, and obviously then you're more considerate when it comes to postage and things like that. You're not layering up too many layers. We're just going to align our topper, so we're kind of looking at it as an overall, as if this is one whole place of the card. So you want to align it so it's central, or as central as you can be. We hold that in place just as we've done with the mats and layers, and peel away and then smooth down that in place. Remember, we're not trying to remove all of the foam tape at once, because otherwise you're getting a bit of a pickle. You just want to do it section by section, and that just gives you so much more manoeuvrability when it comes to sticking everything down. Percy says here, fantastic price for this set, 20% off, even with Canadian exchange PMP. They give us fast service to Canada and the US. Yeah, we do have a really good flat rate service to international postage as well. Sue says, my Grace and Calm collection has just arrived. Stupid excited. Oh, I know. It was an absolute pleasure to present that collection. It's so pretty. It's a lovely collection. You can watch the catch up on, I think they call it Rewind, don't they, on Create and Craft now, if you'd like to watch back any of those demos as well. So once you've got your kit, you're ready to start crafting, pop the shows on Rewind. That's available on Create and Craft's website, and you can craft along. To continue this topper, we're going to add in the mats and layers for this particular design. So again, just folding the carrier sheet over on our perfect papers there, and then just smoothing both of those sides into place. And the final layer, I love this. I know I keep saying how much I love it, but I think it's so, so pretty. I love this sort of subtle quality of it as well. It almost has more of like a heritage design, do you know what I mean, with these colours and things like that. I think it's very sophisticated. So the roses I've already decoupaged, so we've added the layers to those, we've rounded those off, we've given them a little bit of form, a little bit of shaping. Same with those little buds as well. Let's just continue to round those off ever so slightly, and the roses too. And then on the back, just in strategically placed areas, we have our foam tape. So I'm going to just remove a couple of the foam tapes from the bottom, and look how this nestles into the framing, those mats and layers and things as well. Just like so. And once we've aligned, we're just going to stick those two areas into place. And then that means we can go in and just peel away the other areas. Just doing it in section means we have more control over where we're removing the tape from and how that is then slotting and fitting into the mats and layers around it, the frames. Joyce says, I love your scoreboard. Is it from Carnation Crafts? No, Carnation Crafts don't have a scoreboard yet. It might be something they look at bringing perhaps in the future. But the one I use is from Caterpillar, like the trimmers. There, so just then smoothing that into place. And again, using that 1mm foam, both on the background, lifts the topper from the background, so you get this little bit of shadow, which gives the card more depth without adding too much bulk. And the same thing again, using that 1mm foam again from the behind the roses there, lifts the roses, gives you a little bit of a drop shadow again without overwhelming the height on the card design. Okay, so again, you just testing at each aspect there, and you get this lovely kind of traditional look to your card designs. Also included within your two kind are a lovely set of butterflies, and the tags come with the frame designs here. Now, rather than sticking them on plain, I did have a look at my collection and thought, you know what, those stamps from, or that launched alongside Orchard Outing, again, Carla visited this collection on Monday. I think she did some demos with this from our Carnation Crafts TV. These are great because what you're getting here are really well-used sentiments. So things like sending you love, happy birthday, you are wonderful, for someone special, lots of love, with love, get well, thank you. You have those sentiments in a really lovely font, both in a typed and a script, which I think adds in a little bit of design detail as well. But you get them in a large, then a medium size, the same sentiments repeated but in another size, and then in a little small size as well, meaning you can really adapt the sentiments for use in your card designs no matter what size they are. So this kind of piqued my interest when I saw this one, because I thought, actually, do you know what, these tags, and you know, a lot of stamps and things are going to be a little bit too big for these, but because you've got a small, medium and large aspect to this design, we can absolutely choose one of the small designs to fit just as a little pointer, just as a little detail on the tag itself. So let's go with for someone special. So even the smallest size still have that absolutely glorious font design as well. And it just gives you that choice, doesn't it? That lovely ability to add in detailing to even the smallest tags. Now these tags and things are ideal if you're making bouquets and you want to just slot in almost like a little detail on your bouquets as well. I'm using a stamping platform. It's something I would always 100% recommend for anyone stamping. It takes the fear away. It means, you know, you've got so much more control over your stamping. Everything can be aligned properly. Because I'm using the small stamp, I'm going to use my VersaFine in Vintage Sepia. The way the ink's formulated means it will just stamp out even the finest detail with precision. I do tend to stick to colour tones of greys and sepias when it comes to stamping sentiments. I do find that anything in a black ink can be a little bit overpowering, and the sepias and the greys tend to lend themselves better to the tones within Carnation artwork. But again, I mean, that's just personal preference, isn't it? So there we've got For Someone Special, just stamped onto that little tag, and I just love it. I think it's so, so sweet. Let me bring that up to the camera so you can see the detailing, even down to the smallest little font there. Very, very pretty. Elaine says, I've just received these stamps, but why does it say get well and not well, get well soon? I mean, it's a fair question. I don't really know, Elaine. I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? Sentiments are sentiments. Teresa says, they are brilliant. You have 3 different sizes. Yeah, so usable with the sizes. Elaine, I don't know on that. I don't design for Carnation. You probably want to approach Carnation with that question. I really don't know on that. Viv says, just received mine earlier. Love the stamps. Yeah, they're really, really handy, aren't they? Sorry, whilst I take a sip of water. Carol says, Hannah, sorry I didn't hear properly. Where did you get the foam tape from? The same place that is named after a rainforest. Carol would be the best place to look for your foam tape. So for your little tags here, I tend to double them up. Again, I don't know why. It's just a preference when it comes to design. And we just want to make sure that ink is dry. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a blow and then almost blot it just on my cuffs there to make sure that's nice and dry. And then I'm going to shape the first tag out. So I'm going to run it along my pokey tool. So I'm holding one edge of the tag with my thumb and forefinger and just curving it to a point, sort of on an angle, and then taking the pokey tool and then running it up and around the section like so. It's almost like a little flag design, just adding that shape in like an S, like so. Kara says, sorry, which collection is the stamp set from? The stamp set launched as part of Orchard Outing, which is now available on our website. Launched a couple of weeks ago on Create and Craft. Again, same thing again with this one, just giving it a little bit of shaping, just curling over the end. Again, just giving that detailing so it almost looks like it's kind of caught in a breeze, perhaps, like so. I am going to stick those two together before I then stick them to the page. So I'm going to use my everyday glue. I'm just going to unfurl the nozzle there. Just taking away that dried glue before unscrewing. Now I'm going to use my multimedia mat just as a little well. Switch out a little bit of glue into and then squeeze that nozzle down again. And I'm going to grab my glue applicators. Again, something I use all the time, little glue applicators, because they really help you get into just the finest areas on the die cuts and things like that without being too liberal with your glue, so you're not going to squidge glue everywhere. And just picking up a little fine amount of the everyday glue. I'm going around the hole on the tag itself, and then we're going to use that to align over the edge, just so you've got that kind of a little bit of detailing. You don't have to do it this way. You don't even have to use 2 tags. Again, it's just personal preference when it comes to a design aspect. So I'm just holding those until that glue sets, and we're going to go in and have those positioned just probably at the top corner of the design, like so. So to stick that, because we've given that a lot of height, we're going to go in with some Pinflair glue gel. Those that watch me often know that Pinflair glue gel is my glue gel of choice. It's a nice 3-dimensional glue, which means where you're shaping cards and things like that, you can add that height and everything then holds, you know, it keeps its shape. It also means it dries clear, gives you a little bit of wiggle room as well if you want to adjust things while you're working. But do leave it 24 hours before you post anything that has your pin flare on, just simply because obviously when it comes to glue gel, it needs time to set. Again, as I mentioned, we're going to use a little butterfly on this too. It might be that we put the butterfly on the tags, or it might be that we have the butterfly, you know, flying up towards the tags. I haven't quite decided yet. One of the key things with Carnation is we do have what we call our mirrored vignettes. So it's our artwork whereby the back is just as beautifully coloured as the front, and to achieve that it is a method of folding the artwork, sticking the two sheets together if you're using it like I'm using it here, and then cutting them out as normal. Now we have got lots and lots of how-to videos on our YouTube tutorials channel, Carnation Crafts, so just have a look on YouTube and you'll be able to find those how-tos. Again, just with the wings, just folding that over and then just tweaking up the ends, again giving it that shape, giving it that movement to the design. You're sculpting that paper out to give it the detailing like so. Oh, Elaine, don't worry. She says, sorry, Hannah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. No, it's no trouble, Elaine. I think it's a fair question. I've just never really thought of it like that before. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, I can't answer it. Normally I do try and answer all things, but yeah, when it comes to that sort of thing, you'd need to contact the team, really. So again, lifting up those wings. Now, because we're using those mirrored vignettes, it does mean you can go to town on your sculpting. You can add in a lot of dimension to your die cuts and your paper cuts and things like, you know, the tags and things where we've sculpted them, because you're not going to have any white bits that are going to detract from the overall look of your card. We've just lifted those wings, and again just a little bit of our everyday glue along the tummy of the butterfly, and then let's have him just perched on that tag because I think that's quite sweet. So just popping him into place, again just holding for that glue to catch. And then you've got your For Someone Special on the outside. Of course you could include your stamp to the inside as well. I mean, of course we have got, you know, the larger size stamps and things. You know, for example, happy birthday could sit to the center. So you see how within the same project you've got spaces there for using the different sizes within the same project, and how that comes together. So you can have your sentiment on the inside, then just with a little message on the outside as well. But that finishes, I think, the card design for today, featuring the Z-fold card shape. Beginning of the demonstration, we showed you a couple of different ways of using it, and then we're using the Timeless Elegance and a few elements from the You're Too Kind collection as well. Let me turn that round. There we go. And I'll just show you from this angle as well. So that's our Z-fold card shape again. Just really lovely. Nice pared back card design, clean and simple. All the focus there on the frames and the kind of dynamic of the card in its own right. Oh, Humberta, she says, oops, late again. No trouble, Humberta. We always upload the videos afterwards for you to watch back at your leisure anyway, so it's no trouble. And there we go. So hopefully you found that inspirational. Hopefully, you know, you found some little tips or techniques or ways of using the Z-fold that perhaps you hadn't thought of before. If you'd like to share your makes with us, you can do so in our group, Carnation Crafters. Find us on Facebook, which is really, really handy. We love seeing what you guys make. It really, really brings the die cuts and the dies to life for us. And it's so nice because you find different ways of using them as well. When will I be back? Let's have a look. Carla is doing a show on the, I think, the 18th, so on Monday, which is a back to wear featuring the shoes and the flowers, so perfect accessories. Sorry, not flowers, handbags. I don't know where I got flowers from. I'll be back with a Facebook Live tutorial on the 22nd, I think. I think that might be TBC. But yeah, we've got, 22nd is what I've got down as the next Facebook Live, which will feature, again, another by popular request, the mixed floral, I didn't realise that was going to be such a mouthful, mixed floral card shape, which launched as part of the Gift of Giving collection as well. So again, it's something lots and lots of people have asked for, so we'll be doing that one. Lots of love for that card coming in. Thank you guys. As I always do, I will take a picture of it and I will upload it to my brand page, Hannah Roxbury, so you guys can see it. I'll also share it to group as well. Teresa says, do you print the coloured card download, and if you do, what GSM? Yeah, absolutely, Teresa, I do. Again, the coloured cards, we have them in both, obviously the plain, so the solid colours, and then we have cardstock downloads in the backing papers as well, available for most of the collections in the free downloads. The coloured card, again, it depends, Teresa, on what use you're putting them into. If you're using them as mats and layers, I'd probably print them on either 120 GSM Pro printing paper or the 170. If I want something that's going to end up being a topper, then obviously you want a heavier weight, so the 220. So rather than saying, this is the card's weight I use across the board, it depends on what you are going to utilise them for. But I will always print them on our Pro printing paper to make the most of the colour and make sure the ink sits on top of the paper. And I always print via Adobe Reader, making sure that I select, if your printer has got the option, a matte photo paper finish, and also your high quality print settings as well, which is perfect. Jacqueline says, I love using the paper downloads as I'm here in the US. Love. Yeah, it's something that's really great, isn't it? Because it gives you that instant access as well. It's also nice to have that instant colour palette as well before you're waiting for the dies to arrive on delivery, because it means you've got a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of a mood board almost going straight away. Percy says, Hannah, I hope you do one on the shoe collection, as I could always use more inspiration. Thanks and well done on the card demo today. Thank you, Percy. I haven't got a show booked for the shoe collection, and I haven't got a Facebook Live booked. I've only got a couple of Facebook Lives left until I'm on my way on maternity. So apologies, Percy. But if you tune in to Create and Craft or you watch on Catch Up, Carla will be demonstrating the perfect accessories, which include the shoes, on Monday's shows. I think from memory the shows are 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. That's obviously British summertime, but you can always watch those on Catch Up. Lots and lots of love coming in for the row printing paper, which is lovely. Sue says, thank you so much, Hannah. As usual, I've learned so much. Time to get creative. Sue, don't forget to share your makes with us over in group. Anyone who is interested, if you enjoyed this demonstration, don't forget, if you haven't already got this lovely die in your collection, the Z-fold card shape is today's deal of the day with 20% off. Just head on to our website, carnationcrafts.co.uk, click on shop, followed by deal of the day, and that will take you to the special offers each day. Until next time, guys, stay safe and take care, and I will see you all very soon. Bye bye.